Well, gardens offer beauty to our busy lifestyles, and butterflies offer beauty and grace to our gardens. And you know, butterfly gardening is a type of gardening where plants are actually selected to attract these beautiful insects. Well, to attract butterfly populations to your yard or garden, you've got to provide both a larval and an adult food source. And just kind of as a biology reminder, the basic life cycle of a butterfly is the adult lays the eggs, and then the eggs hatch into the larval stage. And that is one of the stages that needs some food, and there may be several stages of the larva. Also, that will turn into the pupa, where the pupa then is going to form into the adult, which again needs another food source, and that completes the life cycle. So really, you need flowers that are going to provide nectar for the adult and nice succulent foliage for the larva. Well, you know, this is kind of a play on priorities, since many of us get very excited when we find a larva or a caterpillar chewing on our plants. Well, if you can stand a little bit of larval damage, let's look at some of the plants that are going to attract both the larva and adult stages of the butterfly. Now in Oklahoma, the monarch butterfly and the black swallowtail are two of the favorites and are quite common. Larval plant food examples are going to vary depending on the type of butterfly that you're trying to attract. But milkweeds, which are one of the native plants of Oklahoma, are a favorite of the monarch butterfly. And dill, parsley, and carrots, some of those herbs and vegetables like we have in our garden, are a favorite of the black swallowtail. Now let me tell you about some other good larval foods as well, and those are clover, nettles, which are another wild plant of Oklahoma, willow trees, which can be found in many landscapes, and then the bedding plant snapdragons, which will be seen a lot of this fall, just to mention a few. Well, nectar foods are really the plants that attract the adult, which we usually think of as the sweet or pungent or bitter smelling flowers, and usually it's colors that are bright colors like reds or oranges, yellows, pinks, purples, and those are really the favorites of butterflies. Now your white or pale colored flowers are going to be more favorites to the moths instead of butterflies. Now some other examples would be almost any wildflower that grows in Oklahoma with a bright color. But for those of you in the eastern part of the state that grow azaleas, butterflies like azaleas in the springtime. And then of course in our studio gardens we've got the butterfly bush or the buddleia, lantana, which is an annual that just does wonderful for us this time of year. We've also got honeysuckle, yarrow, which you've seen in some of our wildflower plots. And then the one I'm sitting behind is called penta or starflower. And it's got a bright red color, and it's really performed for us really well this summer. And of course the only pest we found is a tomato hornworm, which you can see one right here, and he feeds on it, but he too is going to turn into a butterfly or a moth. And so that's one of the things you've got to get used to if you're going to do any butterfly gardening. So remember, you need both a food source for the larva and the adult, and it's a good idea to get a numerous selection of plants. And you might want to designate an area that you'll let grow up a little bit to provide that larval food, and also you want to avoid any pesticide use. You might also find it very interesting to know that there's a debate going on in Congress to name a national insect. And the two leading candidates, or the popular choices, are the honeybee and the monarch butterfly. Well, whatever your choice, remember that both are very vital to the garden and landscape.
We hope you've enjoyed this classic from the Oklahoma Gardening Vault. Remember, even though these tips and techniques are timeless, there's always something new to learn in the world of gardening. By subscribing to both Oklahoma Gardening and OK Gardening Classics, you'll have access to a wealth of gardening knowledge, both classic and contemporary.